What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. We couldn't get away from talking about grading for more than about a day. Beckett has released another statement, and I thought that it was important to, one, draw attention to this video and kind of talk about it for a minute, just to make sure that everyone is aware that this is going on. So, what happened? As we know, they said over the weekend we would hear from them again later this week with an update, and an update they have given us. And they want you, that's right, you and your feedback. You can see the statement up on the screen here. I won't sit here and read it to you. You can read it as we chit chat here. But basically, it's, hey, we heard you. We're putting things on pause. We would like to gather more feedback from you all. Hashtag the hobby. There is a link in this Instagram post. I will link to it in the description of this video for you to go and submit if you would like to be part of survey process and maybe potentially focus groups. No time frame given on this, how long this is going to take, how much feedback they're going to gather, you know, this, that, and the other thing. That's not in there, so I wouldn't hesitate. Go ahead and click the link to be taken to that. So, now that we've all kind of had some time to marinate around this for the better part of a week, I have two major things I'll toss out there for hashtag my opinion on the Beckett nonsense in regards to what I would do if I was sitting behind their desk. There's an easy one, and then there's a radical one. First off, real talk, I don't know that grading scale was actually or is actually your biggest problem. As discussed previously, is it in the top 5 or top 10 of things you should be working on? Yeah, I think 9.5 as your primary grade is an issue. But crack down on customer service, turnaround times, submission process, monitoring your submission while it's there, that sort of stuff, communication, that should honestly be your number one before the grading scale. It's not saying that you can't do both things at once, but I think you really need to fix that stuff more than the grading scale, or at least be working on it simultaneously. So that's my initial is get the ball rolling on those items. Also, there has been rumors of a new slab design since the National last year. They put the thing out, said it wasn't a new slab. Was it a new slab? Was it not a new slab? Was it a mess up? Who really knows? There's conflicting stories depending on who you talk to, which is fine. And when I had Scott on for an interview on this very program, he talked about that they were, indeed kind of toying around with the idea of a new slab. If you are working on a new slab and a new label, you should have that in place to launch hand in hand with the new grading scale. That way, if people are going to be sending a bunch of things into Reholder, into whatever the grading scale slips to or switches to, then they could also knock out the new slab all at once. You don't want people sending cards in to get reslabbed into new Gem Mint 10s or whatever is going to happen, and then have to send them back in 6 months later for a new slab design. That's just my opinion on it. So let's assume that they can knock that stuff out and get it fixed. And I don't think this, to circle back on one quick thing, I don't think the slab needs a major overhaul. It needs some improved security features. It would be nicer to have a little bit better slip up top. That thing rattles loose on a lot of slabs and slides down. And also, the inner sleeve is a blessing and a curse. In some cases, it's nice for the extra protection, but it does not do showing off the cards any benefit. CSG refractors really pop in those things. Beckett, sometimes it's like looking through a dirty window when you're looking at your cards in those slabs, and the scuff marks on the inner sleeves have been a problem. That sort of stuff all needs cleaned up as well. So let's get to the grading scale itself, the primary talking point here. Like I said, I have an easy version of this and I have a radical version of this. The easy version of this is what we've already discussed. Anything that was previously a Gem Mint 9.5 now becomes a Gem Mint 10. That simple. You don't piss off 85% of your user base that has min gems or some type of Gem Mint with a 9 in the category. They get bumped up to Gem Mint 10 along with everybody else. Are you going to get people rabble-rousing about how there's 4 9.5s or a 9.5 and some 9s equal a 10? The math doesn't work. Listen, They can do whatever the hell they want. It doesn't matter if the math works or not. This isn't a math test. It's a grading scale. If they want their scale to work that way, then that's the way that their scale works, as long as it makes sense and that it's laid out. So if they come out and say, hey, you need 3 9.5s or better and a minimum of a 9, then you get a Gem Mint 10. That's the grading scale. It doesn't matter if it comes out to 9.3769er if you average the grades together. That's not how it works. A minimum 9 with 3 9.5s or better has been a Gem Mint Beckett card for the last 20 years. Just because the math doesn't add up on the subgrades, that's never how it worked to begin with. So I don't understand the big deal there. On the flip side, the BGS 10 people, all 2.4% of you, they're going to be pissed because now there's another 10 grade competing with their 10 pristine grade. Get over it. Beckett, they can make a new fancy little label for the pristine 10 people. And then they get some fancy little thing that's better than the Gem Mint 10 label, but not as good as the black label. And they can have their cool little label, and they can send those cards in to get them reholdered. Beckett can get a reholder fee on those as well. You still have the subgrades that you could point at and say, hey, look, mine has 3 10s and a 9.5. That's worth more than yours that has 3 9.5s and a 9, or 2 9.5s and 2 10s, or 3 9.5s and 1 10, or some other combination of 9.5s, 10s, and 9s. It'll be okay. Beckett is in a weird spot because it almost feels like they are held hostage from the black label and the pristine. So my first version of this, that's it. That's all that I would do. All 9.5s become Gem Mint 10s, give pristine people a new fancy label, and then everything else stays the same. Smack your hands together, shake the dust off, you're done, send it to the printer. Easy peasy. The more radical version of this is Beckett is kind of held hostage by black labels and pristine 10s. Black labels make up I think it's 0.2% of their total slab population. It's like 20,000 cards total ever have been graded as black label. I had Gem Rate pull the numbers. Don't 100% quote me on that because it is off the top of my head. BGS pristines are like 2.5%, 2.4%, 2.5%, something like that. If you add the two together, it's under 3%. Under 3% of Beckett's entire population, all grades, are BGS 10 or better. So here's my radical one. My radical one is you merge and sit down, folks, especially if you have black labels and pristine 10s. Depending on which side of that fence you're on, you're not going to like me. You merge pristine and black label together. All pristines now become black labels, and you have the subgrades differentiating a true black label compared to a whatever you want to call it black label with 3 10s and a 9.5. So you merge those two together. Anything with 3 10s and a 9.5 or better is now a black label. So pristines and BGS 10s are black labels. Anything that was a 9.5 prior now becomes a Gem Mint 10, and you get rid of a 9.5 grade altogether. This puts you on a hybrid PSA / CSG SGC scale. So now things are way simpler because that is part of the problem. Beckett's scale, for an average hobbyist, they just don't get it. They don't. The amount, and I'll tell you how I know, because the amount of time I spend in comments explaining the difference between a 9.5 and a 10 being the exact same grade is wild. Now, maybe most of the people watching this, the majority, maybe they do understand it, but we all can agree 9.5 as their primary grade hurts the perception of it, even though it says Gem Mint below it. So if you combine pristine and black label together, you have an upper crust grade of black label. It's still only 2.5% of the population, or 2.7, whatever. So your black label people are going to be pissed, most likely, even though their subgrades did not change. It's still 4 10s, but heaven forbid there's an extra 2.4% of cards with a cool looking black label on it. Your pristine people are thrilled because they now have black labels, even though it's still the same damn card inside the holder. Your BGS 9.5 people are happy because they all just went up to Gem Mint 10. And now you have a BGS 9 as your next grade lower. So you have PSA scale, as in you have a 9 and then you have a 10 gem mint. But then you have something PSA doesn't, which is the black label. So you have that one higher, like an SGC gold label, like a CSG and a CGC pristine. So you have that upper crust end, but now you have simplicity. You have a black label 10 at the top, you have a gem mint 10, and then it drops down to a 9, no 9.5. So that's the difference between the PSA and SGC model. SGC has that 9.5 in there. Beckett, they're just eliminating that, and the subgrades tell the story on if you want to treat it more like a 9.5 or not. Like a min gem is probably going to be priced closer to a 9.5, but you don't piss off all the min gem holders, which is 80% of your gem mint population. So that's my radical one. I don't know that they would actually do that. And I understand why, but I think if you're talking about driving business and setting yourselves up better for the future, that's potentially a better way to go. Because the other thing that it does, it makes the black label a little bit more attainable. Yeah, maybe you have less than a 3% chance at it, but right now it's a lottery ticket chance. It's a Mega Millions chance to get one. 0.2%, 0.3%, whatever it is. To up that to 3%, it doesn't sound like a lot, but from a marketing perspective, now it's like, hey, maybe you can actually get a black label. It's actually semi-reasonable. And is there 2 tiers of black labels? Yes. There's one with 3 10s and a 9.5, and then there's a perfect with 4 10s on it. But you have the subgrades on there to tell the story between those two different cards and different 10 holders. But it streamlines your scale. You have 2 10 grades. One is your main grade, a gem mint 10, and then an upper crust, upper tier, elite grade of a black label. And then you drop down to a 9. And you have the subgrades to tell the stories on the individual cards. And you're pissing off the least amount of people. The 0.2%ers of the black labels are mad. Your pristine people are happy. Your 9.5 holders are happy. You're never going to make everyone happy. There's always going to be someone mad. But so those are my 2 main ideas to throw out there for my feedback to Beckett in regards to what to do. Either leave everything the same and make all 9.5s gem mint 10s and give pristine people a shiny new label to keep them happy, or the radical one, combine black label and pristine into one black label grade, bump all 9.5s to 10, done. And you simplify your scale, make the black label a legitimate chase that you can maybe get when you send in, and then you get the marketing / buzz off of that opportunity as well. And your scale and the way your grading lays out is just way simpler. And then let the market dictate the individual subgrades. Everything's still called a gem mint. There's variations within the gem mint. Guess what? All PSA 10s aren't PSA 10s. There's a lot of PSA 10s that would probably be a PSA 9.5 if they had that as an option. I think we all know that. We all agree. So it's fine. We'll all survive. So I got for you, boys and girls. Curious, as always, for your thoughts and comments down below with my 2 ideas, with your own ideas, and then go lock yourself into the Beckett survey if you want to voice your opinion directly to them. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.